Hello.
Hi everybody, this is Joy Yang, a dating and relationship coach from website joyfordating.cn, based in Beijing.
Mm.
And
And I'm Alex, an entrepreneur here in Beijing as well.
yeah, I met Alex from a shared friend. We had a conversation a few months ago. I realized that Alex and we shared a lot in common about entrepreneurship and a lot of stuff. Um, That's why I want to interview uh, to make him to share more about his journey with you guys. I'm pretty sure that it will be very impressive for you guys.
Super. Thank you so much for the introduction, Joy. I'm really excited to be here with you.
Me too.
All right.
um, Alex is an entrepreneur who help young driven people to develop entrepreneurial skills in order to make Beijing the most exciting and active startup cities in all over the world.
Yeah.
Um, so in this interview, we will have Alex to talk about what he has done, why he came to China, and share more details about his entrepreneurial journey in Beijing and in China.
Super.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let me introduce my company a little bit. So Joy, you know of us as Spaceable, but we recently changed our name to EDUVATE.
Right.
Yeah, because what we want to do is we want to give entrepreneurs and young people the skills they need to enter the 21st century economy and build the kind of solutions that Beijing and the world need in order to maximize their impact.
Right, that sounds very exciting. I am a big fan of entrepreneurs and guys who is entrepreneurs. Um,
Okay.
Okay, Alex, what inspired you come to China?
So I remember when I was a little boy, I received a gift from a family friend, and it was one of those stamps that you can buy in the markets, you know? And it had my name on it, and I was a very self-centered child. So I thought, oh, it's about me. It's so exciting. And then later, when I was in college, I wanted a challenge, and the challenge was to learn a new language because I love learning. And there was no harder language or more exciting language I could think of than Chinese. So I prepared for a couple of years to learn how to teach English and teach other things very well. And then I decided to come to China. Yeah. And I've been loving it here in Beijing, learning the language and loving the culture ever since.
Wow, that sounds very interesting. I am a Chinese woman. I'm also very interested in other culture, like how other kids, why they do what they do, why they decide to come to a foreign country. I think your experience from your childhood is really uh, genuine and special, and I like it. So I want to ask, how did you get into your EDUVATE business from the first place?
Sure. So I've been in education since I was 16. I was a tutor, and then later I was a summer camp teacher, and then I became a certified teacher in the US. So I've always loved education. I've loved watching people grow and develop their skills and their confidence in a certain area. And when I came to Beijing, like many other people, I was an English teacher for my first 2 years. But I also wanted to develop myself because in the 21st century, there's really important skills out there that we all need to know, like coding and entrepreneurship, public speaking. And so I decided to take some time for myself to train and learn how to code, learn how to program and build applications. When I came back to China, I realized that it wasn't going to be an easy journey for me to find a job in this field. So I decided, you know what, instead of trying to find a job, I'll make one myself. And I realized there was a big need for people to learn these skills and others, so I started running workshops. And that grew over time into EDUVATE.
Yeah, I like your idea. Actually, I am kind of the same. People always told me I was good at teaching other people, like teaching other people about swimming and some other stuff. They look at me, they think that I look like a teacher.
Oh, do they? That's very
I
interesting.
got this class.
Ah, yeah, I can see that.
I don't look so aggressive like teaching. So, what type of what are you doing in your business exactly nowadays?
So nowadays we offer programming workshops where we teach people the fundamentals of programming all the way up through how to build a web application or mobile application or even WeChat mini program. That's our current focus because we believe that in the startup scene in Beijing, this is a desperately needed set of skills that lots of people, both foreigners and Chinese, really need to improve. Over time, we're hoping to offer other types of workshops and tie it all into a subscription that allows our users to access not only our events, but all of the best events for entrepreneurs throughout the city at a discounted price.
So you mean that you're not only running your workshops, also including workshops from other
Yeah, so for
people
example,
in China?
we recently partnered with another foreigner who offers blogging workshops. And we just told her that we would help her to gain an audience, and in return, she would help us by becoming part of our larger workshop series. And it's so exciting because it's surprising how few people feel the confidence to write a blog. But with the right help and mentoring, they can do it, and it will help them not only for their personal lives, but also for their businesses.
Yeah, that's very exciting because nowadays things like WeChat public account is has been becoming so profitable and famous. A lot of people want to become bloggers on WeChat.
It's so true.
They make a lot of money, so I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
That those really great bloggers to share their skills with many people, like what you are doing and what I am doing. It both need some kind of blogging skills.
Definitely, yeah.
So for myself, I have been writing for about 4 years in English now. At the beginning, I was really bad at writing English blog, but nowadays I feel so easy.
That's great. I'm so happy to hear that. High five. Nice.
Yeah, I think it just take practice.
Oh yeah.
And some right instruction would indeed help me like how to structure the blog and then make me to write faster.
Definitely.
Better quality. Okay, that's amazing. What you are doing. So who are you serving specifically?
So right now we find that a lot of our people who are coming to our workshops are either professionals who want to improve their existing skill set, maybe to transition career or just to understand the topic better of programming. And we also get a lot of students who are international, who are here for a year or semester and have realized that programming skills in particular, but also some of the entrepreneurial skills we hope to teach, are vital in this economy. And so that's our target audience at the moment. Over time, we hope to also serve a greater population, including young Chinese people in their 20s who aren't sure about what they want to do with their career, and even eventually, not just in Beijing, but in the whole country, to provide these workshops. Yeah.
What you are doing is very useful, I think, because I have met a lot of young people. They want to start some kind of business, but they don't know programming and they don't have too much money and
Right.
they need to make some like a prototype.
Mm-hmm.
If they know some technical stuff, that would be so much better.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, even if they just want to become like a team leader or just to monitor how the project is going on, to know some basic technical stuff would be so much more useful for them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Alex, how are you diving their biggest pain and challenges?
Say again.
How
am I solving
are you
their- Oh.
solving their like? How are you solving their pain and challenges?
That's a good question. You know, Joy, it's really interesting because our business isn't about solving the biggest pain that people have. It's about solving a problem that a lot of people don't know that they have because it hasn't become a problem for them yet. A lot of people are complacent or not fully aware of what it is that they need to do to move forward, right? And sometimes coming to our workshops gives them a whole new perspective that they wouldn't have had, that lets them take the next step, especially when it comes to learning coding. Learning coding is a journey, and I like to say that there's a mountain, and when you get over top of the mountain, there's still lots more mountains, but after you get over the first mountain, it's so much clearer which other mountains you need to climb.
I agree.
Yeah, and so by introducing people to this mountain and helping them climb over it, we let them see a whole new landscape and pursue opportunities they didn't even know existed. And I think in that way, we're not necessarily just solving a pain, we're also opening a door, which is critical for a lot of people who didn't even know that the door was there.
So it's like you give them kind of a roadmap.
Yeah, exactly.
And like what they need to learn and what obstacles they might meet, and then you help them to develop those skills and help them to overcome their fear.
Yeah, definitely. Because, you know,
amazing.
a lot of people don't really know much, and they come to our workshops because they think, oh, coding, I should know about that, but they don't really understand what it is. But later, when they finished all the workshops, then all of a sudden they understand, oh my gosh, there's this whole world I didn't know, and now I know it, and now I can enter it and do stuff with it, and that is exciting. It's almost like learning a new language. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is more difficult than learning a language. A language is just keep learning and learning every day.
Well, in some ways it's more difficult, and in some ways it's easier. It all depends on really on how you think. You know, some people think well for languages, but then programming is harder, and then other people think well for programming, but language is harder.
Yeah, exactly. I got a friend. She is so good at sales, but she is so bad at English.
Oh.
She kept learning and learning a lot. She still cannot speak.
So that's too bad.
I don't know why.
But you know what?
That's why I feel like.
They say different people have different skills, and without those different people with their different skills, we wouldn't have the exciting world that we have. So, you know, we need, it takes all kinds. That's an English saying. It takes all kinds. Yeah.
Yes, I think we should more focus on our strengths.
Exactly.
And hire what we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Alex, this is a special question. Like, how many people do you want to impact in the next 3 years?
In the next 3 years, I would like to impact somewhere between 10,000 and 100,000 people in the next 3 years. And I know that's a big goal. A lot of people, when I say that, think, oh, that's way too many. But the thing is, Joy, there are 22 million people in Beijing. So that is a fraction of the total population. And if we just focus on Beijing, I think we can do it.
Yeah, I think you can do it as well, because the thing about number at the beginning is very little, but when you reach the certain numbers, the number just grow exponentially.
Exactly.
It's like
exactly.
it's like the stock market.
It is a little like the stock
Right?
market. Right.
Amazing. I'm really proud of you that you want to impact this much people. I think if you really impact like 100,000 Chinese people to learn technical stuff, imagine these people go to company or just open their startups successfully. It will create a lot of jobs and inspire a lot of people.
I sure hope so. Yeah.
Okay. Why doing this kind of thing is so meaningful for you? Besides you're very passionate about it.
I think it's because for me, China is a very challenging place to be, actually. When I first got here, I liked it a lot, but over time, my feelings about it have changed a little bit. I still like it, but I need something exciting to do to be here. I think Beijing is a great, exciting place to work. Sometimes I miss home, and I miss the U.S. culture, the U.S. life. But doing this business, I feel great about being here, and I feel connected to the city, and I feel connected to the people who I know. So that inspires me to keep going. The people and the connection that this business brings to me in relation to Beijing and China generally. Yeah, because I don't want to leave yet, even though some days I find myself thinking, oh, Alex, what if you just went back home? When I work on my business, I feel like I'm in the right place. Yeah.
That's very touching to hear you speaking about that because I feel like in big city like in Beijing and in Shanghai or in Shenzhen, we meet people like Alex who is from USA or different culture with us, who bring a different perspective and background to know what you are thinking, like the young people in China. I feel like the mix of mind from different cultures, they think differently. So I think it will create amazing stuff. I always think it's not about what you know to make you great. It's about what you don't know actually makes you great, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So let's carry on. So I want to know how unique and different is your brand EDUVATE than like everyone else in Chinese market. Like there's some training organization, training like programming as well.
Sure. So there are definitely other Chinese companies in Beijing. And to tell you the truth, because my Chinese is not so great, I don't know too much about them. But here's what I do know. In the foreigner market, there's only one competitor we really have, and they're down in Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Chengdu, and they're called the Wagon. And they also teach people coding and entrepreneurial skills. And I actually am an alumni of the Wagon, so I have great things to say about them. What makes EDUVATE different from the Wagon, and maybe different from a lot of other companies like us, is we're a modular company. And that might seem a little weird. So modular. Yeah. It means that we offer our offerings in pieces that you can customizably choose. So for example, if you want to learn how to code, but you don't really want to learn web development, we offer those two separate from each other. So you can just learn how to code and then maybe go in a totally different direction than learning web development. Maybe you just want to learn how to build mini programs. Or maybe you don't care about either of those things and you want to learn about machine learning, so you can work in the AI field. We will offer that too. We're not like other companies which offer this huge package that you have to do the whole thing for. And I guess the other reason why that's great is because we offer flexibility. So a lot of other companies will really tie you down for 9 weeks, for example, with the wagon, or for 12 weeks with some other companies like us. We keep the commitment light, 6 weeks at a time. You can sign up for each class individually, and then, after those 6 weeks, you can choose to take some time for yourself, or you can plug right into the next part of the learning process if that's what you want to do. And our goal is to keep that flexibility, that modularity, while also focusing on how we can get the most value from our partners and they can get value from us. So, for example, here in Beijing, there are a lot of people who do events and workshops. Our goal is to help them get more customers and help our customers get connected to the right events that they need. Because maybe not everybody needs to learn coding. Maybe some people need help with intercultural relationships. And certainly, I'm happy to partner with organizations like yours in order to make sure they get what they need so that they can succeed.
Yeah, I think flexibility is really important because there's so many stuff. I think often we are stuck at certain things. So I think it's really a good idea to like customize the module, right?
Right.
Do you offer like online workshop?
We don't offer online workshops, and here's why. As a teacher, I know that especially when you're first starting to learn something, but even later on, it makes all the difference in the world for it to be in person. One of our goals is long-term to offer a blended approach where you can come to one of the venues we partner with, like the one we're in right now. You can sit there and work with a teaching assistant and participate remotely. However, that's a long-term goal because I really believe it's much more important to be sitting with the teacher and with your peers and learning from each other than to be online. It's a much more isolated experience. Maybe once you know more and you're ready to learn on your own, it makes more sense. But in the beginning, there's nothing that beats in person.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I feel like just a bunch of people sitting together and share about what they do. They actually talk about their problems. They connect, and then maybe the other people know the solution. So I feel like people sit together, they can learn so much faster. So I really think this is your unique position of your brand. The next question is how do you keep this business sustainable?
Now that's a good question. So EDUVATE's a pretty new business. We've only been around for about 6 months. So we have to work really hard, and sometimes one of the things that you have to do as an entrepreneur is make some sacrifices for yourself, because to keep a business sustainable means to have sustainable revenue, means to have long-term customer relationships, and to get those, you have to be willing sometimes to do less for yourself. So, case in point, I usually only eat about 1 meal a day these days.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
You should take care of yourself.
Oh, I take care of myself just fine because it's usually a big meal. Lots of beans and vegetables, perfect. But the reason why this is important is because until the business can have a great, huge impact, like we talked about, keeping it sustainable means keeping my own needs and wants light. That's one thing.
And you're the most important people in your business.
Of course. And
you cannot break down.
Oh, but I won't break down because the good news is I have a great team. And part of keeping a business sustainable early on is also making sure that you're doing other things to support yourself financially while you work on the business. So all of my team, including myself, has other jobs that allow us to bring in the money we need so we can focus on what we love. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand at the beginning, even in my own business, we have to hustle, learn a lot of skills,
Oh,
and
yeah.
keep working on new offering, and also track what worked, what did not work.
Right, that's very
And
important.
then check which makes money, and then keep doing what worked.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and then perhaps sometimes I feel like it's important to stop, pause, and start thinking about like work on your business, not
Right.
for your business,
Right, this is
so
important.
that you can actually leverage your resource, and then maybe just change a little bit, and then you can work more efficiently.
That's true.
To make more income.
You know, one thing that also helps is to plan your breaks ahead of time. So, for example,
I like that idea.
I have a 2-week vacation planned in February, and I know that at that time I don't have to think about anything related to my business. Now, I still will. Don't doubt that. But at least I'll be able to take a step back and, like you said, work on my business, not for it. Yeah, because oftentimes you learn the most when you work for your business, but then the only way you can use what you learned is when you work on the business.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because so many nights, when I was in bed, I kept thinking about my stuff.
Uh-huh.
So I I feel like if I was doing that, other people are doing that. At least
Oh,
other people
yeah.
are doing that.
I'm sure they are,
So
yeah.
I really totally can feel relate
That's
with
good.
what you are doing.
Yeah.
So I will ask a few more questions.
Sure thing.
What has impacted you the most in your life?
What? Okay, so I think probably coming to China was one of them. There's been lots of things, but coming to China was one of them because in the US, I was actually pretty, I don't want to say lazy, because I wasn't, but I didn't ever see myself as an entrepreneur. And I think part of that was just because in the US, it's easy to live a comfortable life and advance slowly in your career and not worry about like what your purpose is and just enjoy your working life. And coming to Beijing gave me a new perspective about work, about business, about what I could do and the kind of impact I could make, and also taught me about working for myself. And so I think that probably was, at least in my entrepreneurial career, probably the biggest thing. Yeah.
Interesting. I want to ask Alex, what, like your parents, what were you doing? Because I often meet young people, they are entrepreneurs because their parents are entrepreneurs.
Oh no, not at all. My mother is a dentist who works for the government. Yeah, and my father is a administrator who works for the government. So they are very much government people. And that's great because they have stable jobs, they're comfortable, but neither of them have ever started a business before. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, you know, people look at me and they're like, or maybe they don't, but sometimes I think some people do, and they're like, how did he get into this? Because I thought I was going to be a professor. So to be involved in business now surprises a lot of people, including my family. But they're okay with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy that your parents are okay with what you do, because when I started doing my own business, my family did not agree with me because they think I gave up a stable job.
Right.
Was crazy.
Yeah, a lot of times people do think that. But you know what? Down the road, you can show them what you're made of. And on the other side, they'll often be proud of you. Yeah.
I agree with you. Yeah. Anyway, like the result showed the impact.
Exactly, right? And it's all really about that at the end of the day. What results can you get, you know?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have to be clear about what kind of result we want to get.
Mm-hmm.
It's same on everything we do.
Oh,
no
yeah.
matter in business, in relationship, we need to get clarity.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
I feel like I learned this through a lot of hard life lessons.
Yeah, well, those are the best life lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, the next question is like, can you tell us 3 things that you think that are the most important thing or aspects for entrepreneurship? No, for expat entrepreneurship in China.
So I definitely think you should ask this to some more experienced entrepreneurs than me, because I'm relatively new. But this is what I've learned so far. Number one, you have to be patient, because sometimes, especially when you're in another country like China that's not yours, you will hit obstacles that you didn't even think were possible. And the only thing that will help you get through that is patience and persistence, but more important, patience, because it allows you to accept that something isn't going to work the way you wanted it to, and wait for yourself to find a solution. That's number one. Number two, yeah, patience. Number two, I think you need to be aware of your context. So, for example, we're in China, and what makes most sense culturally for the people that you're trying to serve. This is very important because we often come from another culture. Like in the U.S., we're very direct, and we try to plan ahead, and we try to make sure that we have everything planned out in advance. And here in China, especially amongst the expats, even there's not a lot of planning. For example, our workshops. Sometimes people just sign up last minute, even if the advertisement's been around for a week. So having this awareness of how culture is and how it works helps a lot. And then,
definitely.
yeah,
It's like planning.
exactly. Yeah, and not just planning, but it allows you to be more flexible and understanding of things that don't work the way you'd expect them to. Yeah. And then,
I have same experience. Like when I sell my program, I wait, if I didn't buy, and in before the FU hours a minute, suddenly a lot of people started buying. So
yeah.
It's like people like to wait for the last minute
Yes.
to buy.
Yes, it does seem that way sometimes. And then, what would be a third thing? Oh gosh.
You said patience
And
planning,
understanding of culture, really. Yeah.
Culture
Yeah. I think the third thing might be definitely knowing the laws and knowing what you need to do to make what you want a reality. So, for example, in the tech sector, you have to have a special license called an ICP. And what this allows you to do is have a website. So, for example, my company, our website is outside of China because we don't have an ICP. And if I hadn't known about this, maybe I would have tried to have a website and then, I'm so angry. Or maybe I put up the website and then it got taken down. And it's all these little legal details, that as an entrepreneur, you need to be aware of, because ultimately you will have to follow them. In some countries, including maybe your home country, you can get away with things for a while. Maybe as long as you don't break any big laws, it will be okay. But in China, you have to be very thoughtful about this.
Yeah, I agree with you because no matter Chinese people and foreigner people are doing in business in China, it's better to understand the legal issue. If you your scale is getting a little bit bigger, because because it can protect you actually.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Like your courses, it's better that you protect like your courses. Otherwise, other people cannot copy yours. Cannot have to say about that. It's great. So you told us about we need patience and we need to understand cultural difference and need to planning and need to know some legal issues about how to operate and start a business in China for foreign entrepreneurs in China. Okay, that's really great. I think we have covered a lot of important and detailed questions about what Annex has done and what motivated Annex and what Annex was doing and wants to do and who he was helping. That's really awesome. I hope that his sharing helped you understand more about how to operate a business in China as an expat. If you are Chinese people and if you want to learn about programming and entrepreneurial skills, definitely you should check Annex website. Okay, what's the website name
So
of your business?
Right now our website is down, but I'll tell you what, as soon as I know it, I'll let you know. Yeah, because we're changing over to a new provider. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So I will put his new website address below this video. Okay. Okay. There is one last question that I want to ask Alex about because I am a dating and relationship coach. I am into those driven experts because these are the guys that the good guys that woman like. So I want to know his opinion about. Okay, Alice, can you tell us the top 3 things you think that are important to build a very good, sustainable intercultural relationship?
Well, first, let me say this. I agree with you. There are some great expat men, but there are also some great Chinese men out there. I had an old job and I had a great colleague. He's single, so if you want to know his number, let me know, ladies. All right? But in all seriousness, I think the 3 most important things that we need to think about when we have an intercultural relationship are actually not so different from the things we need to think about when we're an entrepreneur. The first is patience, because there are going to be times where either the language is a challenge or the culture is a challenge, and you may not even know it. So you need to be patient when something doesn't seem right or doesn't fit what you're expecting in order to work through and figure out how to solve the problem. A lot of people will just get upset and maybe give up or just not understand. But having that patience allows you to find a better solution. And the second thing, which is also quite similar, is you need to know about the culture, because there are little things that we don't even think about that are really important for another person from another culture. I used to have an Afghani girlfriend, and boy, there were some differences, and it took time for me to learn more about Afghani culture to fully understand what those were. And the third thing I think is really important when you have an intercultural relationship is you have to say what you want, because if you don't, then people won't figure that out for you. And I think that's true in a regular relationship, but I think it's especially true in an intercultural one, and especially for people coming from cultures where it's not as normal to say what you want directly. Because in any relationship, but especially a romantic intercultural one, you need to be able to express clearly what it is that you're feeling and what it is that you need, in order for the other person to fully understand with words, not with some sort of other things, hints or anything else, but with words.
Yeah, I think the 3 points you made are really important, like express what you need and what you want directly. Because a lot of girls here, they are afraid of asking what they want directly. We are scared the guys away. Alex, the guy, gave us a great point. Just be straightforward, and then he said patience, and then really understand the different culture, because sometimes we have expectation that is reasonable for Chinese, but actually
Maybe
they
not.
don't think the same. So yeah, it's like communication is really important, and patience make two people, even if they don't know each other so well, they still can carry on understand each other more. And I think the willingness and the curiosity about be patient to know your partner better is really I think is really the foundation of good relationship.
Yeah, that's true too. Curiosity is very important.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah. Alex, really thank you for answering this question that I asked. I really appreciate your time.